What's up, guys? We are wrapping up this most recent wave of Black Series figures, taking a look today at one of the newest solo movie figures. Today we have got Dryden Voss on deck. This is one that, frankly, I was looking forward to because he's got a pretty nifty feature here. So we've got him in our standard Black Series packaging. You can see him there in the window. We've got some artwork down there in the corner. This guy's number 79, and then the back of the box has got that artwork again with a bit of a bio. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. Alright guys, and here he is out of the package, our Dryden Voss figure from Solo. This is one that, frankly, you might have thought I might not have picked him up because, I still haven't gotten all of the Solo movie figures, which is still a bit of a rarity for me when it comes to Black Series. But this is one that, frankly, I just wanted to get a hold of. I like his look. I was okay with the character, and I like his, kind of weird color change trick that he has got going on here. So some interesting stuff with this figure. He is, of course, kind of on the plain side in some ways, but I really like his outfit. So while he is very much a figure that is just clad in black, there's a lot of texture and a lot of detail going on with this guy. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at articulation and see what this guy can do. So as usual, we're going to start at the head, and we do have a newer style ball peg, so you can go up a little bit, you can go down, bobble side to side, rotate. Arms go out, rotate all the way around. You've got a single rotating elbow, and then you've got hinges, and you have got rotation at the wrist. This hinge is an up and down hinge, and then this hinge is a side to side hinge. So you do have different type of hinges. Obviously, with his kind of, whatever you want to call this thing, one-sided cape on, it is going to impede his left arm articulation. There's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do about that. He has got an upper diaphragm swivel, so he goes side to side, back and forth, and rotates. You do not have a waist twist for this guy, though. There's nothing down here to break him apart at the middle, so he's just got that diaphragm joint there. Pretty normal, though. Legs go out, they kick forward, they kick back. You got a thigh cut. We've got double jointed knees all the way back. It's not pretty, but he's got it. And then you have got rocker, and you got hinges down there at those ankles. So, for all intents and purposes, he is a pretty standard Black Series figure with that newer style head joint. And for this particular figure, I think you'll be able to get him into dynamic enough poses based on what we know he can do. Now, of course, for my money's sake, what I really cared about with this guy is the overall look and his design. And then, of course, he does have kind of a goofy feature that we'll talk about here shortly. So we do have a figure that is, for the most part, just cast in black plastic, but it's not just flat black. It has a lot of texture and a lot of detail, really shimmers in the light depending on how it hits it. So to start, we will start, of course, with the big thing on him. So he does have this one-sided cape thing, which frankly I like. I mean, it's incredibly impractical, but I think it's kind of a cool look for the character. It is soft plastic. It's not soft goods, which I'm perfectly fine with. I don't think it would sit right if it was. It's got this little doohickey on the front here. I don't remember this in the movie. That doesn't matter, though. I don't really remember this thing, and it doesn't connect to anything. It just sits there, and then it kind of hangs. So it looks like it connects, but I don't think it's meant to, just because that would really restrict movement. You've got kind of his undershirt there. There's some gray that's on his neck with a little fine paint detail there for kind of like a gold zipper almost is what it looks like. But there's a lot of line texture in the shirt that goes down into the pants. They're very much the same type of weave, basically. So there's a lot of lining in this and tons of sculpted detail. All these lines are actual sculpted lines that run down the chest, on the crotch, and then all the way down the legs, through the pants, and then you just got kind of standard black shoes there. He does have this very ostentatious and rather large belt, cummerbund almost kind of thing with a bunch of techno doodads all over it. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Does anyone truly know what that is? But there's a little bit of paint on there, a little metallic paint for this kind of gold thing. I feel like I don't know enough about what he is wearing to really talk about it, frankly. He's a guy that's got a weird cape, all in very expensive looking black clothes with a bunch of doodads all over it. That's how I'm going to go about it. And then you've got his kind of silver wrist guard thing coming out here over on this side, and then you've also got a gold ring on his right hand. His right hand does have a triggerish style finger. His left hand does not. But I do think the body looks good. I like the design here. I mean, it very much mimics his look from the movie, and that's really all you can ask for. So I think it does very much work in that regard. Of course, the big thing for this guy, though, overall, is that head sculpt. And obviously we have got photoreal being employed on this figure, and Dryden Voss does of course have a very specific look about him. So we've got, just to start, the likeness. I think it's pretty close to Paul Bettany. I'm not sure it's 100%. I almost feel like there's not enough paint in some areas, kind of around the mouth and maybe around the brow, but I do definitely get the look. I get the likeness out of it. It's obvious that you can pull that out of this figure. We've got his little metal guy, whatever that is, up on his head there, and then you've got a pretty decent hair sculpt, which does have a little bit of kind of light brown dry brushing in there to kind of bring out the wavy texture of his hair. But all that said and done, he, of course, has all of the scars that run over his face, or whatever they are. I don't know that he was ever described as being an actual human. He's a humanoid, but not. He's obviously something a little more. So we've got the scar things that run down his face, and I'm not so sure how these are implemented. They don't really feel like they're sculpted in any way, but they also don't feel like they've been painted on either. I assume they could be printed on in some way, but of course they do have kind of an alternate thing here. So he does have, and I'm not going to call it an action feature, so to speak, but he does have a thing. So if you get his head cold enough, these scars or whatever they are on his face will turn red. And, you know, you can dunk him in cold water, put him in the freezer. When I got this guy, you know, when he was sitting on my porch today, he was red from just the cold outside. It does dissipate pretty quickly, though. So unless the head itself is really, really cold, it's not going to stay too long. So you're going to have to keep that in mind a little bit. But I absolutely love the idea behind this. I think it's great. It very much employs one of his key characteristics from the movie, and I think they did it in a pretty fun way. So it has some play value, but it also very much mimics something from the movie, and it just plain works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. Now, as far as accessories for Dryden, we have got two different weapons here. Well, not two different weapons, two weapons that are the same weapon. So we have got his kind of signature, whatever these are called. I'm not even going to go to the trouble of looking them up because, frankly, it doesn't matter. We've got his kind of brass knuckle style things that he uses when he fights Han at the end of Solo. And these are pretty interesting because, frankly, I like the design. I think they're cool. You know, they're kind of lightsabery in how he uses them, whatever they actually are. Design is fun. They're different. They're unique to him. But they seem to employ the same color changing method that his face does. And this one has been really, really hard for me to capture because frankly, it's very cold in the toy room down here. So they seem to want to stay very cold, and they're very, very red to begin with. But if I kind of put my fingers over the blades, they'll turn gold. So when they're warm, they'll be more gold, and when they're cold, they will be red. So just like his face, these are color changing too, which I don't believe I ever saw this advertised anywhere. So that's kind of a cool little Easter egg almost. So you've got two of these, and they do seem to do the color change thing. You might just want to throw them in the freezer or something first to really get them going, but they definitely do seem to employ that same kind of feature, which is definitely fun. So overall, I really don't have a lot to say negative about this figure. Frankly, I like the cape, I like the suit design, I like all that line work that's in there, I like the head sculpt. I do think it needs maybe a touch more paint to bring out some detail around the mouth and the eyes and the brow, but overall I think it very much captures his likeness. I love the scars, I love the color changing feature, and it accomplishes what it sets out to do. This very much looks like Dryden Voss from Solo. I can't really ask for too much more in that regard. He is maybe not the most dynamic figure in your Black Series collection, but he doesn't need to be either. So I think this is a pretty good one. Definitely maybe a sleeper hit among this particular wave if you weren't necessarily after all the Solo figures, kind of like I'm doing. I'm not going after all of them, but I'm definitely glad that I snatched this guy up. So that's going to do it for this look at the Star Wars Black Series Dryden Voss figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.